Wake up, YouTube. It's the granddaddy you love to hate. And you're watching the Hey Granddaddy show.
Hey, Granddaddy. Hey, Granddaddy. Hey, Granddaddy.
Hey, babies. How y'all doing? I'd like to thank y'all for coming in and watching this. Uh, I'm still learning. So things are going to be a little choppy still. My intros, I'm getting better at my intros. I'm settling into my intros a little better. And I'm trying to fixate on a lane, but I'm throwing everything against the wall. You know what I'm saying? So, like the Godfather said, hey, we build it while we're flying. All right? I'm going to make mistakes. Things, my intros, segment to segment. So I'm learning these things, and I'm learning the editing too. So it's just a one man band right now until I can start making money off of this, and then I can hire people to do editing and all that. But right now it's just me, myself, and I. And I'd like to thank y'all for tuning in. Yeah, thank you. Thank you for tuning in to the Hey Granddaddy Show. This segment is kind of serious. It's a little doom and gloom, but it's something to be prepared for in the long run. All right. This first segment is about Fednow, but we're gonna go the little long way around it. We're gonna talk about the devaluation of the dollar first, and I'm gonna need this help from Graham Stephan here. So take a listen.
It's Graham here. So it's official. China and Brazil have just struck a deal to ditch the US dollar. Whoops. Okay, before everyone freaks out, don't worry, it's a fake bill for dramatic effect, but the point still remains. The world's second largest economy is slowly cutting off ties with the United States, and this, not surprisingly, is the first to go. So today let's discuss exactly what's happening, why this is happening, what this realistically means for all of you watching, and whether or not this is a topic to be concerned about, because I have to say, this is something to be taken extremely seriously.
Now,
The billionaire Ray Dalio has previously described the impending downfall of every major economy as we know it, how these cycles typically happen on a regular basis, and how we could best prepare for what's to come based off predictable events that happen about once every 100 years. Although before we start, I have to
see, every 100 years or so, this does happen, where being though we're alive, you know. So it's like we became the reserve currency in like 1920, somewhere around there. Yeah, you know what I'm saying. So it's before that it was either Great Britain or France or whatever. But and then another 100 years or whatever before that it was another one. You know, then 100 years before that it was another country that had the reserve currency. Um, then everything was on tulips or some crazy thing and crashed also or whatever. I digress. But every so 100 something years, the reserve currency changes. It's been 100 years. So it's not going to happen overnight. It's going to be something slow. Um, to the point, to a point, it's going to be slow, but it's not going to be exactly slow because the way this thing is set up now with the whoever predicted the internet, who could have predicted the internet in this tool of AI and how they're gonna ramp up everything. Everything's gonna get speeded up like rats on crack. You know what I'm saying? So it's gonna get real crazy. But what y'all need to know is that it's not gonna change overnight. But in the next 10, 15 years, it's going to change. But in the next 2, 3 years, it's going to get stupid. Start pushing the change. I mean, even in July, they're doing the Fednow is doing that. I'm gonna talk about that later, but I'm gonna let him speak more on this.
All right, so as a quick 60-second recap to bring you up to speed about what's going on, as of now and for the last 80 years, the US dollar has been the most powerful currency in the world because it's known as what's called a reserve currency. This refers to a currency that's accepted throughout the entire world, and since 1945, the US dollar has taken that place because of its safety, resiliency, and stability. Like when the system was first adopted, it was used as a way to keep the price of investments, exchange rates, and commodities like gold and oil stable, knowing that no matter which currency you held, its value was pegged to that of the US dollar. See, when you have dozens of countries all trading goods and services with each other, it helps to have one universal currency accepted around the world with a predictable value to conduct those transactions in. Otherwise, you run the risk of getting paid in a currency that might be difficult to exchange, or maybe its value has fallen by the time you're able to convert it back to your native currency. So think of this kind of like a global transfer of value through the US dollar that everyone has agreed to be safe. And of course, the United States benefits from this as well because more countries use the US dollar, more countries hold onto those dollars, and as a result, we have greater buying power. But
But though we have the buying power, now things are getting out of hand because China is ditching the deals with the U.S. and they're making deals with Saudi Arabia to buy more oil, and in turn to help Saudi Arabia buy more oil from Saudi Arabia. Saudi Arabia wants solar and hydrogen technology because he wants to get off of selling oil, which in the background is really they keeping it hush hush. Anytime a country is trying to stop their main supply of what they sell and what they meaning they know they're running out. Let's be real, they're running out of oil, so they trying to make this deal with China to start getting wind, solar, and hydrogen or whatever hydrogen to be prepared for when the oil actually runs out in their country. Everybody thinks that this oil is going to last forever. No, it's not. No, it's not. And anytime a country, let's use common sense. Let's use common sense. If you're making $1 million a day, you're making $1 million a day selling one product. Why are you going to get off of that product and try something else? You're going to try and slow down that product and get off of that product and buy something else. Why would you ever do that? Why would you ever do that? Why wouldn't you do both? You know what I'm saying? Why would you say, hey, I'm going to cut back? Yeah, they're only cutting back because they're running out. Let's be real. And which is going to end up putting them at a disadvantage. So that's why they want to get to wind and solar and all that. Carbon free, carbon neutral products. You feel me? All right? You understand that? So those Saudi Arabia got the upper hand right now. They're actually trying to wean off of it because they don't have it. They don't have a lot more left. They may got 10 more years of it, but they know they don't have an infinite supply of it. And that's the rub. That's why they're trying to really get off of it. It's my opinion, but my common sense opinion. And that's where you gotta think about what people do. Not what they say when they say something You got to understand why they're saying it. You can't just think just because they're saying it that it's true. They're just trying to wean people off it. Why are you trying to wean people off it? Oh, you trying to save the planet? Yeah, but you've been making all this money all this time, and now you want to try and save the planet? For real? For real? For real? Yeah, okay. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, for real. Yeah, that's funny. So you have to think about why people do things and what causes them to do it. And that's how you can read people. I'm giving you secrets here that I've learned so long on how to understand people and maneuver and make them fail when they plot against me. They be like, "Hey, how did I fail when I had this plot against them, but I already knew their plot. I already knew how they operate because I understood them, and I know their human nature. I know their nature. Know the beast, you know the behavior. You feel me? If you know the beast, you know the behavior. I learned that a long time ago when I was not so not so granddaddy. How about that? Yeah. So that's one thing you have to understand that he's not just getting off of it just to get off of it for the sake of goodness. He's getting off of it because they know they're running out and they need to make a new kind of deal, and so they can survive this. All right, back on.
Dollar is apparently at risk of losing that reserve currency status. And to understand why, look no further than Ray Dalio's Changing World Order.
If you have $2,500 or more in savings, then I urge you to listen to this message, as it could be extremely.
See, as he explains, throughout history, there's a constantly changing world order between the leading economy and the rising economy. And over time, one will fail to make way for something new. For example, prior to 1945, the reserve currency was held by the British pound, which lasted for 105 years following the French Revolution, followed by the Netherlands, followed by Spain and Portugal and Venetian gold, and so on, with the understanding that reserve currency.
So you see who all had what during those times and those centuries. So it is nothing new. So okay, we have the reserve currencies at 45. So it's coming up on to 100 years. But the way things are speed up, it's gonna get crazy. And it's all because of Fednow and everything that's happening with this crypto. I'm not gonna lie to you, crypto is dangerous. It's good, but it's good for goodness sake, but we're humans. We're humans. And you know, as humans do, humans gonna be humans. You know what I mean? Our human gonna be human. So that means we're gonna twist it into something nefarious, destructive. It's gonna be very destructive. It's gonna be confining. People gonna use it to take their power. Where and you know who gets hurt when powerful people play to win. When powerful people play to win, the poor and the middle class get hurt. Is really ooh damn, I got emotional for a minute. I got emotional. Yeah, I felt a little swell going up. Oh, shake that off. I'm a capitalist, baby. Yeah. Yo, but people are gonna get hurt. Yo, and I mean people are gonna get hurt. And this is crazy. I can see it. I don't know, I can see it. But Yeah, go.
have never lasted forever, and about every 100 years, they change in a transition that lasts between 10 and 20 years. So what causes this, you might ask? Well, Ray Dalio points out that this could be summarized into 3 categories: the rise, the top, and the decline.
The rise, the top, and the decline. We're at the top, going into the decline. We're like right here. We're right here. We're right here. This is where we at. We're right here in this niche right there, in a crack. You put your 2 fingers. Oh, blah, 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 blah. Ooh, I'm doing an old dirty man. but, but yeah, so that's where we are at. We done printed so much money. Now we gotta do quantitative tightening. You heard of quantitative easing, but we're doing quantitative tightening. Quantitative easing is what we did in 2020, 2021, mid 2022. Now this is called quantitative tightening, where they're restricting, raising interest rates, prices is going up, people are getting fired, companies are letting people go. This is called quantitative tightening, where they make it hard to buy things. Where you buying stuff, chicken, eggs going up, beef, crazy numbers. So this is called quantitative tightening. So they're tighten up the belt, and you're trying to endure this. This is where you need your savings. You should be investing, should have your savings stacked already, and then the rest you start. Once you get to a certain number of your savings, then you start investing. You know what I'm saying? You don't just invest and don't have no savings. 3-4 months, maybe 6 months. The real G's will have at least a year of savings. Have a year of savings, because you see how far stocks fell, and it's been almost a year, and it's still going down. So you wanna have that in your back pocket, just in case you're one of the unlucky ones that get let go, pushed out the door, or whatever. You want to have that in your back pocket. Yeah, we're gonna continue. So we're in the midst of we're on the decline right now, because we printed so much money now. Now we got a quantitative tight. We got to tighten up the belt, and people are ditching the money. People are ditching the dollar. Brazil ditching the dollar. South Africa ditching the dollar. China, India. India is like crazy consumer. Is like a crazy new market coming up. So China about to be where we're at and overtake us 2030, 2030. You know what I'm saying? So, and they're a big part of it is how they're devaluing the dollar by making these deals with other countries, forgiving debt by other countries, and ditching the treasury bonds of America, treasury bonds and bonds and stuff like that. And then here they go with y'all may not know, y'all seen the commercial, TEMU, and Shin, SHEIN, Shin. Those companies are in China. So how America is the middleman for its people. How China and all countries, they send food in or product in. They send product in to these stores, Best Buys and all of this stuff. Best Buys, Home Depot, ShopRite, and all this stuff. These furniture places and stuff like that. Well, maybe not the food, but well, yeah, the food too. But they send it to them. But what Shin and textiles, which is clothing, um, that is what I can say it. So so those stores then pass on, then sell to us, right? But this is what Shin and Temu is doing now. They're skipping all that. You see every product they have. They have sneakers, they have clothes, they have electronics. They're sending it all over here straight from their factory, which they can print it cheaper and make it cheaper than we can get it over here. So as we learned, we're going to destroy ourselves by buying from them directly because they're getting rid of the middleman. So all the stores here are going to end up closing. They're going to do like how Amazon does the little people. China is going to do these little people. The China companies is going to do to these stores. Best Buys is little. Best Buys is little to Shin or whatever. Yeah, I mean Lane Bryant's is little to this company that's over in China. So they're gonna flood the market with cheap product. How Amazon would do. This the same. Amazon has the same model. Amazon would buy stuff, have you selling it, but if your metrics is up and they see it, then they'll buy it in bulk and then they'll ship it as in their store. Even though they do a spin around of they let people get it whatchamacallit. But they'll basically force the little person to close down, and that's their metric. That's their tactics, and that's how the value of the dollar is going down. So we may buy those little trinkets, stuff from Temu and Shin. They we're basically destroying ourselves from within, and that's part of the art of war. You know what I mean? The art of war is to win by not fighting. Let your enemy destroy themselves from within, and that's all we're doing. We're destroying ourselves from within. You know what I mean? All right, we're gonna finish this one.
The rise after every new reserve currency, there's a period of peace and prosperity as people bet and borrow on that system continuing. This is typically marked with strong education, critical thinking, character building, and work ethic that allows for innovation, new technologies, and other resources for a continual rise in productivity.
See, we did that in the 20s, the 40s, the 50s, the Industrial Revolution, 10s, 20s, 1910s, 1920s. Education, we had critical thinking. Now you look around you. Who got critical thinking? Who has critical thinking? People aren't thinking critically no more. They just see sit. See sit. And they don't, it's they see it but they don't understand it. And that's what's happening. We had a strong education before, but now it's just we're horrible. You know what I mean? I'm not even gonna go into that. Just keep on going.
In order to finance that continual rise in productivity, there has to be a system in place for borrowing and allowing people from around the world to convert their currency into investments that share in the success of making that happen. In fact, Ray Dalio points out that all the successful reserve currencies followed the exact same path, leading to, of course, the top. At the peak, the general consensus is that while people earn more, their time becomes more valuable relative to other countries who would be willing to do the same work for less. On top of that, other countries have the ability to take the blueprints of the latest innovation and then copy that for a fraction of the cost, reducing the leading power's competitiveness. The tipping point, though, comes when people lose faith in the reserve currency, they refuse to buy it, and would rather sell than reinvest the profits, leading to, of course, the decline. Ray Dalio explains that during an economic downturn, if a country cannot sustain its own debts, it has to choose between defaulting and printing more money. And they're always going to choose printing more money. That devalues the currency, it raises inflation, and since the 1990s, the central bank has already stepped in 3 times to finance an industry collapse. Once in the dot-com bubble, once during the mortgage crisis, and again during the COVID shutdown. Historically, it's said that when a government has trouble funding itself during bad economic conditions or rising inflation, the rich move their assets to places, investments, and currencies that they feel safest in, and giving way for other nations to eventually take the spot as the reserve currency. Surprisingly, he explains that these events have repeated themselves consistently since the Roman Empire, and even though no two changes have been the exact same, there is a similar blueprint that we could look at today to determine what might happen in the future. Now, in this case, the value of our dollar is indeed weakening. See, the dollar isn't just valued at a dollar, even though technically a dollar is always equal to a dollar. Really, though, it's tracked against 3 different metrics. The first is the exchange rate to other currencies, the second is the demand for 10-year treasury notes, and the third is what's known as foreign currency reserves, which is a really fancy way of saying how many US dollars are held by other countries. Now, when it comes to the exchange rate to other currencies, it is true that the value of the US dollar has been gradually weakening since 2020. However, the US dollar is more recently higher than it's been throughout the last 20 years, despite the recent drop. Second, as far as the demand for 10-year treasury notes goes, this is essentially just a 10-year loan to the government. And for people who want a safe place to store their money, they'll essentially buy these and then get a guaranteed return on their capital. In terms of our own currency, though, the value of the US dollar has been actually going up alongside with interest rates, meaning the higher the rates go, the more demand there is to buy those higher yielding bonds, which is good for the US dollar. And third, in terms of foreign currency reserves, this is where things get slightly less optimistic, because as you could see, the US dollar has been steadily declining as other currencies are beginning to take its place. And as CNBC reports, we're now at the lowest level that we've seen in 25 years. This, of course, brings us to what's happening right now. On March 29th, it was announced that China and Brazil struck a deal to trade in their own currencies, ditching the US dollar as an intermediary. This would essentially enable...
Right there, see, that's strike one. China and Brazil getting rid of the dollar. You know what I mean? Then it's China buying oil from Saudi Arabia, and it's also buying oil from Russia. So the plan, like it's a crazy plan. It's like it's so many things that's intertangled between everything. Like America, we're doing this proxy war. All right? We're doing a proxy war with Ukraine. How we did with Afghanistan against Russia, we're doing it now again with Ukraine against Russia. So we're trying to deplete Russia so they can't take over with the currency. But at the same time, you got China buying up the oil and giving them back their weapons to help Russia. So, and in turn, we're devaluing our dollar. We're spending capital. We're spending cash, which we don't have. We don't have it. We don't have it. We haven't had it for a minute. For a minute. When I say a minute, I'm talking about a year or two. We don't have it. You know what I'm saying? This is where you got to call bankruptcy. We're at the point where we ain't going to never be able to pay back the debt. You understand that, right? We're never going to be able to pay back this debt. This debt is so large. Imagine you make $20,000 a year and you got $1 million worth of debt. Are you going to be able to pay back that $1 million worth of debt with the interest? All you're doing is paying on the interest of that $1 million with your money. The money that you're paying, you got is interest. You ain't gonna never get above that interest. You're paying back just interest. Just interest. We way past that. So what's gonna happen is we're gonna have to default. And when you default, We almost default. We kind of defaulted before when they didn't give us that AAA rating. They knocked it down to a AA rating or something like that. Yeah, we did some default crap. We did some default crap. We didn't pay somebody, so it happens. It's a slow burn. We're like the frog in the pot. The pot is heating up. Frog don't know. Frog don't understand. Frog's like, it feels good. The pot is getting hotter and hotter until it's too late because the frog then changes his temperature and got used to the temperature. But by the time it's too hot, the frog that is too late. Frog ain't gonna get out. That's us. And that's when the currency is gonna change. And that's how they're speeding it up now with Timu and Shin and all of those companies that we're buying directly from. We're not buying it from 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 Best Buys no more. We're buying it from Timu or Shin or whatever they are. You understand? We're not buying things directly from America, which we should. We should. I mean, it's hard because it's going to be priced out, but it is what it is. You know, we all have all this stuff around us. We all have this stuff around us, and eh, eh, eh. Okay, it's cool with me. And that's what's going to lead to the downfall of the dollar. Um, yeah, I don't. All I can say is, buckle up, buckle up.
Them to trade directly with each other without having to buy US dollars in the process. And they currently transact around $150 billion every single year that's through the US. But keep in mind that this is not the first time that something like this has happened. China's been slowly shifting away from the US dollar since 2010. Russia and India both ditched the US dollar a year ago, and Saudi Arabia recently said that it was open to the idea of trading the Chinese yuan. Not to mention, China, Russia, Brazil, India, and South Africa have already joined forces to transact in their own reserve currency that's separate from our dollars, referred to as BRICS. So this isn't exactly something that came out of nowhere, but it could have a significant effect. In fact, as Grit Capital points out on Twitter, China's trading volume skyrocketed upon the Russia-Ukraine war, with sanctions allowing them to gain an even stronger foothold on international trade. But is this actually something to worry about? And could the US be heading towards a time where it's no longer the reserve currency? Well, as of now, even though the future of the US dollar looks uncertain, there's currently nothing close to being able to take its place. Now, of course, it's certainly not the most confidence-inspiring to hear that China's economy is posed to outpace the US by 2030, or that BRICS economies are some of the fastest growing nations in the world. But
see that, right? 2030. 2030. And then all the other countries that are with China, Brazil, India, Russia, South Africa, everywhere where South Africa is, the yuan is going to spread. They're already ditching the American dollar. You already heard the news. They keeping it from you. This is going to in a handbasket. You know what I mean? So the whole thing is, what are you going to do? It's hopeless. To a point, you got to just be a leaf and go with the breeze. But there's some things you can do. You can stack your money. I'm not your financial advisor. I'm not a financial advisor, and I'm not your financial advisor. But you got to stack your money. That's all I'm saying. You got to stack your money. If not, you ain't going to weather the storm. And what's happening now with Fednow is great implement fully. And in the next 2 years, they're going to roll out these CBDCs. You understand me? They're going to have these CBDCs, central bank digital currency, which going to have an expiration date. Is going to have a I'm acting like Smokey in the chicken coop or something. It's going to have an expiration date. It's going to have control mechanisms. You can't buy this, you can't buy that. They're going to mix that into it. And that's the trap. You can't say nothing. You got to go along with the government. And that's the problem with these CBDCs. They're going to make it that you can't buy anything when they bring these tax credits, the carbon tax credits. They're going to give you a certain amount per year allotted. Say you got 5,000 5 tons of tax credit, meaning that the gas you use to drive your car, or they're trying to make everything electric now. But the gas you use to heat your house, if you don't have solar, the everything that you use that uses energy is going to have a tax credit to it. It's going to have a carbon footprint to it. So as you use it, it's going to tick down. And once you get to a certain amount, to that zero, then your stuff gets shut off. That means you can't do nothing. That means you can't go nowhere. You understand that? That's what DeSantis is fighting for. I don't know dude like that. I ain't vouching for him or nothing like that. I know he's running for, I guess, president or whatever. But it's going to be problems. Now, it's going to be more like The Demolition Man, if y'all seen that movie, where people are living underground eating rats. You know what I mean? Extraterrestre. You feel me? You're going to be eating rats and bugs. You know what I mean? They're going to have you eating rats and bugs and stuff. You know what I mean? You ain't going to be able to eat no meats. You know what I mean? Well, rats. That's meat. Yo, it's going to be crazy. So, that's the scary part. I mean, hey, I'm up there in age. I'm 54. So, I don't know if I'm going to have to deal with that. I'm trying to move somewhere where it's dirt roads, and I could put up a little house with solar power, and plant something in the backyard. You know what I mean? That's where I'm trying to get to. Most likely end of this year. I'm going to take a little trip, a couple places. Since Japan is, not Japan, but since China is surrounding Taiwan, I can't go. I can't go there. I can't check that out. You know what I mean? I don't want to get caught up in there. And I want to get out of here fast enough before the CBDCs lock me down, where they can put it where all expats got to come back to America and live, because they won't get they money out the bank, because everybody's going to have CBDCs. It's going to be CBDCs because it's basically digital currency. The stores is going to start paying. Stores is going to say, "Hey, we don't accept money no more. We accept digital dollars." So they're going to say, "We accept digital dollars. You're not going to be able to buy anything with paper fiat." You know what I mean? Paper fiat. So it's going to get crazy. I feel sorry for your mother. You feel what? What you say? I said I feel sorry for your mother. Yo, it's gonna get wild. I see the writing on the wall, and I'm panicking myself because I want to get out of here. Yo, I want to get out of here. Hey, it is what it is. You gotta find a way to have some humor in this. In this, knowing what I know, I had to find humor in this because it's thinking about it is terrifying. If you really expand this and see what the cruelty that people have that abuse power, that want to be controlling everything, you know, it's only gonna get worse.
The US dollar still makes up the vast majority of global transactions, and its dominance is not going anywhere anytime soon. Frankly, a lot would need to happen first if there were to be a new reserve currency, and notwithstanding a massive black swan event that undermines the United States' role in worldwide trade, it might not happen, or it might.
And right there, a massive black swan event that messes with worldwide trade. Where's everything's coming from? China, Taiwan. You see what I'm saying? See what I'm saying? And China just put ships around Taiwan. Yeah, yeah. So this massive black swan event is going to happen. You know what I mean? They got Trump out here to distract you, bread and circus. Give the people bread and circus. They got Trump out here to distract you, which he's going to do some outrages, and the news media is going to start posting it. Anything to distract you from what's happening. They don't want you to know about the real events that's happening that's going to change your life. They want you to hear the fluffy things where you could say, whatever, that's him. But they're not going to tell you, but they're going to keep you entertained with that. It's basically doing a Kansas City shuffle. It's like, hey, look at this hand. Yo, you see what I'm saying? They're going to get you. They're going to get you at the Kansas City shuffle. Like, hey, look at this, look at this, look at this. It's the Kansas City shuffle. But, hey, man. It's the dollar downfall, like you're saying. It's the downfall of the dollar. And I ain't even going to roast nobody on this one. I had to join. She was a cutie, and I was going to roast her. You know what I mean? Yeah, I was going to roast her. You know what I mean? Yeah, I was going to roast her, but should I roast her? Should I roast her? Yeah, I'm a roaster. All right. Thank you, Graham. Yeah, she's a cutie. You know what I'm saying? She's a cutie. She's a cutie. Cannot deny that. Right? But as when we was younger, we bust jokes on everybody. We don't care if you're cute or not. You know what I'm saying? Don't you look like the what? Brown hornet. Yo, she got the brown hornet shit. You know what I'm saying? She got the brown hornet shit. Abba dooba 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 dooba. Hey Jay, she's a bald chinny. Yo, thank you for watching the Hey Granddaddy Show. This is the Granddaddy you love the Hey.